Well, a lot of us were disappointed when the inauguration was taken indoors, but it was very cold that day. I know I stood out at 101 Constitution Avenue overlooking the Capitol and broadcasting. It was very cold up there with a bunch of other networks, of course. But we all tuned in to watch the inauguration, of course, inside the Capitol Rotunda. And I thought one of the highlights, without question, was Pastor Zoe from the 180 Church in Detroit, a man I've gotten to know a little bit over the past year and a half. He lit the place up. He did. Guess what? Pastor Zoe's with me right now. Zoe, nice to have you back on the program, my friend.
Oh, I'm so Holy Ghost happy to be here with you today. So grateful.
And man, I have not had a chance to talk to you since that was 2.5 weeks ago now. Tell me about that moment of you being there, because, I mean, you really channeled the energy, the positive energy in a path forward for America. That's what it felt like to me. But tell me about that moment from your perspective.
I mean, it was so powerful. Can you imagine praying at the Rotunda? Hey, Senator, I'm doing what I see today. I see it. And I'm here watching actually now, and I'm just so grateful to be able to pray and intercede for our amazing leaders. As you know, President Donald Trump had the greatest comeback in political history. And it's fitting that we would pray the dream, that we would intercede, that Martin Luther King's dream gets fulfilled. And for me, a kid that was born and raised on the east side of Detroit, mentored by murderers, shooting up the street, for me to be used by God, it was indicative of his will being done on earth as it is in heaven, to let every American know, even broken crayons still color, even a crooked stick can still draw a straight line. God can use anybody.
It was remarkable. Okay, so it's been, and look, you've drawn both praise and scorn for supporting Donald Trump.
Totally.
I mean, you praise and scorn. I mean, I guess that's not unlike Jesus Christ himself. Praise from some, hatred from others, right? And you kind of become that dividing rod in the middle, because, you know, to support Donald Trump as a pastor, as a black pastor in Detroit, I can only imagine the inbox of your email. Probably pretty exciting every day, isn't it?
No, it's amazing, but we have to understand history. When you look at Reconstruction, black people were Republicans. If you look at over 2,000 black men, they were in elected office. And sometimes people are ahistorical, they're a-biblical, meaning they're a-spiritual. People don't understand that the Bible is a political book, and you cannot read the Bible with integrity and be a Democrat. You just can't. I mean, we just need to be honest about it. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it's the truth of the matter. So when you read the Bible and see the sanctity of life, when you look at traditional marriage, when you look at fiscal responsibility, those are all Republican principles that the Bible holds on to.
You know, it's interesting. You point out something that's very important, and you talk about history, though. Black voters were always Republicans from 1865 until 1965, when LBJ pulled, I'm just going to say, I believe it was a scam. He pulled a scam on black voters and made these promises that they've never kept, by the way. I mean, it was, Governor Wallace came from the South, right? This is where the Democrat Party, its roots are. Jim Crow laws, all these different things, you know, poll tax, all of that. Didn't happen in Michigan. Didn't happen in Minnesota. It happened in the South, and it happened with the Democrats, who are the most powerful. It's always been true, isn't it?
Well, it has. And the problem with the Democratic Party is they've had 60 years to fulfill the promise of Lyndon B. Johnson, and they never have. And the problem is you have Democratic propagandizers that propagate these lies that cause black Americans, who are typically a funnel for misinformation and disinformation because of the low literacy rates. So for someone like me to come with truth, for someone like me to come with the Bible, for someone like me to come with the principles of Christ, sometimes it's a little uncomfortable. But I feel like Harriet Tubman, as we celebrate Black History Month, that we are going to liberate our people and let our people go from the Democratic Party.
Yeah. So how do we go forward from here, as far as there's a switch underway, Pastor Zoe, and that is you're seeing this migration after this 60 years from the Democrat Party back to the roots where black voters belong, and that is with the Republican Party. The Republican Party was created to end slavery in large part.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
This is where we are. The Emancipation Proclamation was a Republican movement. The first move to desegregate
Absolutely.
schools was President Eisenhower, who doesn't get the credit he deserves. 1957, he sent in the National Guard to Little Rock, Arkansas, and said to the governors in the South, you can't do this. And yet somehow the Democrats got all the propaganda working in their direction. It's got to be corrected. The truth must be told. Would you not agree?
Well, I agree, and I believe as the Republicans, one of the reasons why I'm in Washington and as the Republicans support voices like mine, I just give objective truths. I'm not feeding people political poison. I'm just giving the truth of righteously regulating resources. That's the number one thing. Number two is election integrity. We have a case right now in the Eastern District Court. We need a congressional hearing. That's one of the reasons why I'm here in Washington, so we can bring people from Detroit that have ironclad, bear-trapped, hand in the cookie jar evidence of election fraud in the state of Michigan. The Michigan Secretary of State, they have voted for people who are low-propensity voters. They have voted for people that have never voted before, straight ticket Democrat. We have the proof, and we need to begin to get back to election integrity so that we can have the democracy that the Lord has blessed us with.
Yeah. Well, what is the path forward here? I mean, look, we've seen a great renaissance in Detroit where you are. We've seen a changing of the guard in Washington, and just in 2.5 weeks, my Lord. Donald Trump has put in more work and got more things accomplished in 16 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years, or would have done in 8. I mean, it is remarkable. But how do we keep the momentum, Zoe? How do we go forward? What happens next? What happens to black voters in Detroit, across Michigan, across this country? And what's next?
What's next is I believe we need to start the Republican Minority Caucus. We need to reach out to our Jewish brothers, our Chaldean brothers, our Arab brothers, our Egyptian brothers and sisters. We need to reach out to every tribe, tongue, and culture to start a caucus where we can have a voice at the table, where we can expand the party. One of the reasons I'm here is to meet with the RNC chair so we can talk about what it looks like to expand the party, leveraging voices like mine and my leadership in order to bring in every tribe, tongue, and culture. Those that typically wouldn't have a seat at the table at the Republican Party, we want to bring them in so we can be able to expand the party and scale the momentum.
Well, I'll tell you, Pastor Zoe, anything I can do to help you or Michael Watley or anyone involved in that effort, you send them this way. We'll do everything we can because we've got a country to save. We've made a lot of progress. We've turned a corner, but the work is yet to be done. The work is yet to be done. I'll give you the last word.
Well, the Lord is with us. He'll never leave us or forsake us. We don't worship an elephant, nor do we worship a donkey. We worship the Lamb that was slain, and he's going to use us to bring liberty to this country and to expand the Republican Party so that our country can be a city that's set on a hill that cannot be hidden.
Pastor Zoe Sewell, 180 Church in Detroit. If you are not familiar, I don't know how you'd not be familiar, but man, good conversation. Good to talk to you. Best wishes in D.C. this week, and we will talk soon, my friend.
Thank you, Steve. God bless.
God bless you. What a good man, right? What a good man. Ivy is up next. She's plowing through it. Like a lot of folks, she's a little bit under the weather, but, you know, the radio show must go on, along with television and streaming and all of this magical media. It's the Steve Gruber Show, and I'll be right back.